Okay, today I'm going to be talking about some angles of joints and how they move, movements of joints. So the first one I'm going to start out today is flexion. As you can see, my arm is out and it is straight. This is considered 180 degrees when your arm is straight like this. Flexion is when you bring your arm or another appendage to a decrease at an angle. So it was 180. When I come in like this, it's a 90-degree angle. Anything less than that is also considered flexion. One of the reasons that this is such a good movement for the elbow is because it's a hinge joint, so it works like a door back here, and it only goes really in one. You can't really move your elbow out this way, but this would be flexion, to be able to move your body part at a lesser degree in the joint angle. Okay, so we've just demonstrated flexion or flexion. This is anatomy, not English, don't come for me. When my arm is in this shape, as we've just done flexion, when you move your arm back out and you extend that joint and straighten it, this is called extension. So we came in for flexion, and straightening back out is extension. Okay, we're also going to talk about adduction and abduction of the body movements. I'll let you guys see my really cool shirt. If you've read Fourth Wing, I'm on Onyx Storm. Anyway, so as you can see, there is the midline of my body here. When we look at the frontal plane, which is the invisible plane that, separates your body into front and back portions, abduction is when you take body parts and move them away from the midline of your body. You can't really see my full arms. I'm sorry about that. Maybe if I move to one side, it's a little bit easier. Here's the midline of my body, and my arm is going away from the midline. That's abduction. Adduction, ADD, is going to be when you bring parts back toward the midline of your body. So this would be abduction. We're going away from the midline and coming back down and toward the midline of the body is adduction. And this is really good for the shoulder because it's a ball and socket joint, which means that it has a lot of different motion in it. So you can kind of, okay, I'm gonna let you guys see my shoulders. So we have elevation and depression next. Elevation, when your shoulders go up when you're doing a shrug. This is elevation. Your shoulders are coming up in the frontal plane of your body. And then when they come back down, it's depression. Or even putting your shoulders back. This is also depression. And we have elevation and depression. Okay, so next we have protraction. When your shoulder moves forward on the transverse plane, does an anterior motion, this is protraction. So I have my door right here because you can see my shoulder, and when I push on it, my shoulder comes forward. This is protraction. And when you push your shoulder back again, when I'm opening the door, this would be called retraction. So we have a retraction and protraction when the shoulder comes forward. When it comes back, it's retraction. Okay, so next we have circumduction. And circumduction, when I put my arm out like this and I move my arm in a circle, but my shoulder is staying stationary, that's circumduction. And you can see, or my arm makes a circle, but my shoulder staying stationary. Or even this way might be a good example too. You can see up here, my arm is a little bit moving, but when you look at my shoulder, it's stationary while the rest of my arm is moving in a circle. Okay, so next I rolled my sleeve up here to kind of show you guys. Up here is where your humerus is, and in rotation what happens is the bone spins on a longitudinal axis. So you can see my arm like this, where my humerus is straight. when I pull my arm toward the midline of the body, sorry, I'll try not to move my actual body, but when I pull my arm toward the midline, you can see that my arm has shifted, the humerus has spun on that axis. And when we go out toward the other side, the humerus also spins on that axis. And this is rotation, when there's a spinning, a bone that spins on a longitudinal axis. Okay, so next we're going to talk about supination. When I have my arm like this, and I flip it upwards, so my palm faces upward, this is supination. When my arm is in this position, the radius and ulna that go through the forearm are parallel to each other. When I flip, make sure you guys can see, when I flip my hand back down, the radius kind of spins over the ulna in an X shape, and they overlap. This movement where I'm putting my palm downward is pronation. So supination is the upward motion, and pronation is flipped downward. Okay, the last thing that we're going to talk about today is going to be dorsal flexion and plantar flexion. My foot here is very relaxed. I'm not doing anything to it. When I bring my foot upward, you can see how my toes go back as well. When I bring my foot upward, this is dorsal flexion, one of the two. And when I put my foot downward and point my toes, or my toes come down, this is plantar flexion. So we have dorsal flexion and plantar flexion.